The one that got my attention is this one word. Taste and see the Lord is good. Or the joys of those who trust in Him. St. Peter is saying this again on 1 Peter 2:3. But what does taste means?
I wasn't used to what you're asking.
The word says, Psalm 34:8, taste and see that the Lord is good. Or the joys of those who trust in Him.
Well, what is tasting?
Well-
That means taking something in and savoring it and putting it inside us and trying it out. Those are just some ideas.
Tasting is a sensory experience.
That's right. It doesn't mean you're feeling it in your mouth, it's you're feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at what you are tasting.
Yeah.
You know, you're hearing stories about it, and you are experiencing the love or the kindness of the person who is providing you that food. So, I mean, pretty much every part of your body is experiencing it. See, that's really what tasting is like. You know, when you look at the Asian cultures, especially Indians nowadays, we all eat with our fingers because we don't want the fork and spoon to spoil the sensory experience we get out of eating food. You see, so all of our senses have to get into eating food. That's what.
That's an interesting theory.
That is. Tasting means it's a complete sensory experience. It's not just for your tongue.
Right.
It is complete. You're seeing the fragrance of it, you're seeing the taste of it, you're seeing all kinds of things when you are eating food, tasting food. You see, I mean, for instance, when you are tasting wine, you're not gulping it, you are tasting it. And when you're tasting it, you are experiencing the flavor, you are experiencing the texture, you are experiencing, the ingredients that went into it. You're trying to experience everything. And when I ask you, how does it taste? You will say it's flowery, it's peppery, it's that. You'll describe, what the taste is like. The Bible is not written in the US. You know what I mean? It's written by people who live in a different culture. For them, we need to understand contextually, what does tasting means. Tasting means it's a full experience. That's really what it means. But, for us, when we are looking at the word tasting is a complete experience, complete sensory experience. See, but the psalmist says, taste and see the Lord is good. See that? Taste and see the Lord is good.
Sense.
All right. So prayer
Prayer
and encounter and experience of God, it's a complete sensory experience. That's really what means here. It's a sensory experience for every sense of our body. That's what encountering God is like. That is what encountering God ought to be. It's not, it's God is not an imagination. You see what I mean? God is not an imagination. God is a sensory experience for all of our senses. And you're going to see the same word repeated many times in Psalms. Taste and see the Lord is good. Taste and see the Lord is good. I mean, there are even songs. Taste and see. So, hymns are written about it. So the tasting of the Lord, not what it feels good to our mouth. It's experience to our eyes, our nose, our palates, our whole being, our whole brain. Everything has to be a part of it.
You used the word that kept going through my head, experience.
Experience. Even touch him. When you touch him, he doesn't, feel the same way everywhere you touch. His feet feels differently. His hair feels differently. His face feels differently. Everything about him is different. See, touching.
Different to everybody.
Yeah, and touching is a major part of tasting. You see, that is the reason why Asians, no matter how sophisticated they become, they'll always eat with their fingers. Because touching is a big part of eating. You see what I mean? Big part of eating. See, and that's what the tradition is like. You see, so we need to touch the Lord, we need to feel the Lord, we need to smell the Lord. We need to do all of that. That is what tasting is. At least we need to strive to do it.
Now, are you talking about when you have an encounter with the Lord, or are you just talking in general about the Lord?
See, encounter is a will of God. Forget that.
Okay.
But, striving to taste something is something we can do even without the encounter. When we are cooking, how many times we taste them? So it's a process of going through preparing the dish. It enables you with the encounter. That's really what the spiritual journey is. It's the process of tasting. When you're cooking, it's a process of tasting. That's what cooking is. When you're making wine, that's what it is. It's a process involved in it. And how you enjoy the process as you go through it. And how you try to perfect the process as you go through it. See, that's really what tasting is all about. Tasting is not an end result. Tasting is a progressive result. Okay? So spiritual journey is that. It's progressing tasting. It's a progress made with a lot of tasting along the way. And then finally at the encounter, you're going to have the Lord. And you're going to have a comprehensive experience of tasting Him. You see? Do you see that?